Welcome to the VCT Pacific breakdown. This time, it's not gonna be about an execute, it's not gonna be about a retake, it's gonna be about Lotus and space taking. The newest map in our pool is a little bit different than other maps that we have in Valorant, and I took the match between Global Esport and Gen G to break it down. So in this video, I would like to compare two rounds from both of the teams and explain why it's so important when it comes to taking space in this area over here on the map. Both teams have a very specific way of taking it or defending it, and we're gonna draw comparisons and explain why this is happening. But first, map theory. Why is this area so important? Typically, we can say that if an attacking team wants to commit on a side, you can say that when they breach this line over here. But if the defense is pushing over this line towards this area, well, then it's so hard to get to that point, right? So essentially, the defenders, by pushing over this area to establish control over the doorway, they save time. They save time on rotations, and they also are more alert on the potential execute in this area. If an actual attack is gonna be done through the A main, the defenders are already up close and they can alert the C players or the B players to rotate faster through the spawn area or through the destroyable door for reinforcements, so they save time because they're alerted faster. Or if the attack goes through C or B, well, then you also have the possibility of rotating through the destroyable doors and through B towards C to save the time that you typically waste if you have to rotate through the spawn, because it's so much longer. So this is actually very efficient, but also drains out the utility from the attackers if they want to breach this site again. Now I'm gonna play out the beginning of the round and pay attention to what I mentioned about the rotations, because when Gen G is taking aggressively the space on A main, the opponents are alerted by the amount of utility that was being used here. Well, it appears on the minimap. So they attack into C fast, and unfortunately the defenders are actually rotating through spawn, and as I mentioned, it takes such a long time that the C doesn't get any help. KO did take the orb and destroyed the door, so he's able to shave off a little bit of time to go through B, but unfortunately the two defenders, the Jet and the Fade, took the long route, even though they got the control over A main over here, right? So they didn't gain a lot by taking that A space, but still, this is a pretty good retake while happening here on the side. But the thing is, well, Global Esport just hits a nasty kill from Texture and essentially stopped them in their tracks. But this is a very good effort and a good example of how this round can be played out in the beginning and how the map theory works here on Lotus. Yeah, this kill from Texture is actually kind of crazy when you think about it right here happening. Like, this is round deciding. It's actually unreal. Also pay attention to how the attacker's Omen is using his ultimate to make a flank while in the post plant. It's very important because you don't really get a lot of value from the Omen ultimate, but it does get the value here, which is again very impactful because it's so hard to get anything done with that ultimate in a lot of the rounds. So we're gonna jump straight to round 14. This is Global Esport on the defense, and I'm gonna be pointing out what is happening on the entire map, because there's a very clever setup here happening from Global Esports, and even though this is against an eco, it's worth noting. So we're gonna zoom in on the minimap and gonna play the clip and pay attention now to what is gonna happen on the B side as well after the team is gonna go through the area on A lobby. Let's play the clip. There's the standard Care Dagger, there's the Paranoia, there's the Flash as well to substitute all of that space taking, and the standard TP onto Rubble from the Omen. But instantly you will see the KO go towards B side, and now he's playing off the contact of the alarm bot, and there are two nanoswarms to stop a potential push. Why is this so important? Because the Killjoy is playing with another player on C side and they play off contact of turret. So essentially they have a substitute for one player, let's say 2.5 players on the C side, and the B side is bolstered by another player that is essentially guarding the entrance. So every single lane over here, this one, and this one is being guarded by, let's say, enough stopping power to count as 2 players. And the rotation, the fast rotation from global esports here from A to B is so important because, as I said, it shaves off the time of the clock, and it's so important when the map is so big like Lotus. So now let's go back to the actual broadcast and play the round out. By using the smoke over here in the C lobby, they push away the players from that area because it applies pressure. It's like pushing against the current. The pressure from that smoke pushes them into the hands on the A lobby players. Now, after doing that smoke, they need to recheck the area on A and make sure that they can establish the control again. This smoke, the one-way smoke here, is so hard to go through. As you can see, there's almost no space here that allows you to peek safely without being, well, exposed with your feet. Now, there's one thing that the attackers could have done, because they used one smoke for the A lobby over here. As you can see on the right, I'm gonna go back a few frames, it appears between the rubble and the small elevated area here. But the thing is that this smoke could have been done in a different place, and this smoke could have been placed right underneath the one-way over here, which would extend the one-way and essentially create a tunnel for the attackers to go through the one-way without being noticed, and that would create pressure on the defenders and counter the one-way essentially. But that was not being used by Gen G, and that results in them falling back again into the hands of the opponents on the C side. It's super crucial to understand that counting the utility with your own utility, something that I call counterspell, but in general it's so important to understand the shift when it comes to the pressure that you can achieve while using your own utility. So now the defenders actually maintain the pace of the game by cycling through this Omen smoke in between the sides, and they push them back into the 2 players on C side with the judge, which is such a big trap, and it's super effective. This is a really well played round by Global Esports and just essentially pushes the attackers exactly in the spot where the defenders wanted them to be. Hope you guys enjoyed the 4th episode of VCT Pacific Breakdown, and if you liked it, maybe consider leaving a comment, a like and a subscribe for the channel, and see you guys next time.